Good morning, folks. My name is Kurt Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if there's probable cause for those charges, and then we'll set your conditions of pretrial release, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit of the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you haven't had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear, affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Very good. When I call your name, please step forward to the podium. C.C. Cornett.
Yes, sir.
Want to miss what's your date of birth?
3/21/76.
All right, C.C., you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Toner. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel. Who would you like to public defender?
I have a public defender that was assigned to this case from the original.
Okay. We'll continue the appointment of the public defender. Of course, the bond on the warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'm going to change your date to the 23rd of October. They told you the 31st. We'll have you back on the 23rd. PD will come see you before then, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Susan Davis.
Yes, sir.
One Miss Davis, what's your date of birth?
7/30/66.
All right, Miss Davis, you're here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State what can you tell me?
Only his prison 1996 withhold for resisting without violence.
All right, Susan, I have an address for you on Azalea Circle in Dade City. Is that where you live?
Ridge Manor.
Okay. And you live with Robert?
That's who I was living with, him and his father.
Okay. And you have a job these days?
No, sir, not right now.
Okay. Susan, I'm going to set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Robert. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. You don't contact him through any social media. You don't have a third person contact him. Don't go where he lives. Don't go where he works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine having contact, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and you can be held without bond until the charge is resolved. It means no contact even if he wants the contact. So if you answer your phone and hear his voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see him, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that he cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision that he's allowed to make. He may go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges. He may tell them he's not interested in pursuing this matter. But that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I have to hold you today at the jail up until 4 p.m. so that if you wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. As far as that address on Azalea is concerned, as long as Robert is still there, you'll have to stay someplace else until we get this case resolved. You can go by one time to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to stay. To do that, however, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They'll meet you there with a deputy who will stand by while you collect your things and get going where you're going. I'm going to have you back in court on the 1st of November Very important that you check in with the public defender before that date, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Kayla Lewis. Morning, Miss Lewis. What's your date of birth?
06/22/89.
Kayla, you're hearing a warrant that was signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the public defender for you. Bond on the warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'm going to send you back to see Judge Merritt on the 31st of October. Public defender will come see you before then, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie Maggard. Morning, Stephanie. What's your date of birth?
4/11/71.
All right, Stephanie, I have two arrests for probable cause violations of probation. There is probable cause in each case. As to the local case, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like the public defender?
PD, public defender.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender. The bond, of course, is going to be no bond. On that one, I'll have you back on the 31st of October. It looks like you were also being supervised on a case out of Lafayette County, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So I'll hold you on no bond on that case as well. What will happen is you'll stay here until we get the Hernando case resolved, and then they'll have you transported to Lafayette to deal with that one, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Denise Wagner.
Morning, sir.
Morning, miss. What's your date of birth?
2/26/74.
Miss Wagner, you're hearing a warrant that was signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for one count of discharging a firearm in public. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel, or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State what you can tell me.
Just there was a drop battery in 2016, and that's all I see.
And Denise, I have an address for you on Collingswood Street in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Correct.
How long have you lived there?
6 years.
Do you have a job these days?
Currently, no.
I'll set your bond at $500. I'm going to have you back in court on the 1st of November. If you bond out, make sure you check in with the public defender before the 1st, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Rosanna Williams. Morning, Miss Williams. What's your date of birth?
August 23rd, 1987.
All right. Miss Williams, you're here on a charge of, it's a warrant actually signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for one count of violation of a domestic violence injunction. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
PD, public defender.
I'll appoint the public defender, Steve.
Just a drop battery in 2012, that's all I see.
And Ms. Williams, I have an address for you on, is it Barrientos Lane in Brooksville? Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
About a couple years now.
Do you have a job these days?
I do, and I go to school full time at PHSC.
Okay. I'm going to, Ms. Williams, set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you abide by all the directions and conditions of that injunction, whatever they may be. I'll have you back in court on the 1st of November. Make sure that you check in with the public defender before then, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. John Blazin. Morning, John. What's your date of birth?
6/24/82.
John, this is a probable cause arrest for violation of probation. Looks like you were sentenced in Pasco and being supervised up here. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's probable cause for the VOP. The bond will be no bond. Because it's a Pasco case, you'll have to go there to resolve it. We will let Pasco know that you're here. and we'll give them 5 days to come get you. It doesn't take 5 days with Pasco, but if for some strange reason you're still here 5 days from now, they'll bring you back to see me, and I'll find out what the holdup is, all right?
Good.
Thank you. Timothy Connor. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
October 15th, 1970.
All right, Tim, we have an additional charge now of dealing in stolen property. There's probable cause for that charge. Do you have a public defender on your other cases?
Yeah,
I think you do.
I think I do.
I think so. All right, I'm going to appoint the public defender on these. I'm going to set the bond at $2,500 and then move this case to the 17th of October where your other cases are. So all your cases will be on the same date, all right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Justin Fowler. Morning, Justin. What's your date of birth?
August 17th, 1983.
Justin, you're here on a charge of trafficking in morphine. There's probable cause for the charge. As to the charge, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire a private counsel? Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
There's a failure to appear in 2015 in adjudication withheld for possession of paraphernalia, possession of medical drug without prescription, and possession of controlled substance in 2015, and guilty for withholding information from a practitioner in 2012.
Justin, I've got an address for you on Magnetic Drive in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir, for a very long time.
How long have you been there?
20 years, 25 years.
Do you have a job these days?
You just had hernia surgery less than 2-3 weeks ago. I've been waiting for it to heal up. I do have a job as soon as that's done. Yes, sir.
Okay. What will that job be?
Cook at Rookies.
Okay. We'll set your bond at $10,000. We'll have you back in court on the 31st of October. If you get out, Justin, very important that you go see the public defender, okay?
I will, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter Guptill.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
8484.
All right. And hang on a second, Peter. State, do you have any idea why we have
I don't know, Your Honor.
affidavit? Okay. This is bizarre to you as it was to me.
It was interesting.
Okay. And on the second one, it appears that count one is intended as an aggravated battery due to great bodily harm.
Right. I think because it was hours later and there was injury above the arm through the window kind of deal.
Okay.
So I think
But there's no additional information in the PC. Right. Right? I mean, the
Right.
PCs are identical.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. And I noticed, obviously, that there was an injury, but there's nothing to suggest that it required stitches or surgery or anything.
I recognize that as well.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is two things. One, ask you to make these become one case.
Right.
That whoever is appropriate to do that. Two, as to count one on the ag bat or felony bat or whatever they're trying to make that felony bat, I guess. Regarding the injury, I'm not going to find PC on that today, but I'm not going to hold up because I'm going to go ahead and set reasonable bonds for all the other 4 charges.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just so that you all have the understanding that may be, but it require more information than I have today.
Right.
Okay. All right. So Peter, as far as you're concerned, I have 5 charges here. I'm going to find probable cause for 4 of them. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I don't know about my private counsel yet. It's James Jones, so right now I need a public defender.
All right. I'll appoint the public defender. State what you tell me about history.
Your Honor, he had looks like a cannabis possession in 2015 and then a withhold for obtaining a substance by fraud in 2010, and that's all I see.
Okay. And Peter, I had an address for you on Larkin Road. Is that where you were living?
Yes, sir.
How long had you been there?
2 years.
All right. Do you have a job these days?
I am self-employed.
What do you do?
I'm a handyman.
Okay. And were you living with Miss Sams?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
You dealt with our case before of restraining order that she had on me prior.
Okay. Hang on. You know, Peter, I've been doing this a long time, so I've dealt with a lot of folks before.
I understand.
Right? All right. I'm Hernando County's uncle.
Yeah.
All right. So, Peter, what I'm going to do on the first 3 charges, I've got the 2 felonies, which are false imprisonment and a tampering and a misdemeanor battery. On the felonies, I'm going to leave the bonds per the schedule, which is the $5,000 on the battery at $1,000. So the total on that probable cause affidavit, I guess, is $11,000. Condition is that you have no contact with Miss Sams. You heard me explain no contact.
Yes.
And you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Also going to hold you up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction, we'd know where to find you. As far as Larkin Avenue, if there are still things there that you need for wherever you plan to stay, if you bond out, you can go by one time, but you've got to contact law enforcement first, who would meet you there with a deputy to stand by while you picked up your things. On that arrest affidavit, you're coming back 1031. On the second arrest affidavit, there's a felony battery and a resisting. I'm going to find no probable cause as to the felony battery for now. It doesn't mean that there isn't probable cause. I just don't have the information today. So on that count, it'll be ROR. On the resisting, it'll be $1,000. So now your total bond is $12,000. Also with the public defender in the condition of no contact. So everything's coming back 1031. If you're going to go with Mr. Jones, make sure that you get a hold of him right away and that he knows what's going on. If you're going to go with the public defender and you're able to bond out, make sure you go see them right away. If you can't get out, they're going to come see you at the jail, all right?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get out.
All right. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, sir. Howard Jansen. Want to, sir, what's your date of birth?
9/10/1986.
All right. Howard, the charge is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the public defender, state.
There's a DUI in 2014, and in 2014 there's a dropped battery on a pregnant female. That's all.
Okay. And Howard, I have an address for you on Azora Road in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
About 2 years.
All right. Does Brittany live there as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have a job these days?
I just started a new job, sir.
What are you doing?
I clean out septics and do drain field installs.
Okay. Who are you doing that for?
John by Johns.
Okay. Okay. Set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Brittany. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Also have to hold you up until 4 p.m. So if she wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. You'll be back in court on the 1st of November. As long as she stays on Azora, you've got to stay someplace else. But you can contact law enforcement to go by one time and collect your things, all right?
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you. Rafael Orego.
Morning, Your Honor.
Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
10/11/85.
All right, so you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Toner. Apparently it failed to appear in his court on 3 charges: possession of controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and driving on a suspended license. Judge Toner, pardon me, Judge Toner set your bonds at no bond. I won't be able to change those this morning. Did you have a lawyer on these cases, sir?
I had the public defender, which I notified that I was pulled away due to the hurricane, and then had a death in the family, and then a medical emergency for myself, and was not able to make it.
Okay. Well, I'll continue the appointment of the public defender. You'll have to get back in front of Judge Toner to and speak to your lawyer about all of those arguments as far as the fail to appear. This is how we get you back on the docket, unfortunately. I'll have you back the 23rd of October. Looks like they told you the 31st. The right date is the 23rd. Your PD will come see you before then, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Timothy St. Clair. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
82760.
All right, Tim, the charge is retail theft. There's probable cause for the charge. Yes to that charge. You want to represent yourself? You want to hire private counsel? Would you like a public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD state.
Guilty for theft in 2017 in Tarpon Springs. Guilty for trespass in 2016. Guilty for trespass in 2015. Guilty for 5 counts of trespass to conveyance and burglary of conveyance in 2014. Guilty burglary of structure 2013. Guilty trespass in 2012. Guilty battery in 2012. Guilty trespass and assault in 2011. Guilty possession of burglary tools and burglary of structure in 2010. Guilty for trespass in 2009. Another trespass in 2008. And possession of a weapon by a felon, guilty in 2007.
Okay. And Tim, you got a regular address? You've been staying with somebody, living outdoors? What's going on?
Yeah, I have a structure. No physical address though.
Okay. You got a job these days?
No, I don't. I lost my identity, my ID, so
Okay.
it makes it harder.
Right. All right. We'll leave the bond at the $500. I'll have you back 1st of November. If you're not able to get out, the PD will come out and see you and get this case resolved. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Corey Tout. Morning, Corey. What's your date of birth?
03/06/1988.
Corey, you're here. I've got 5 warrants, all signed by Judge Toner. Every one of them is a fail to appear
I was locked up.
on a grand theft. That's the most common reason, Corey. It means you're not likely to get charged with failing to appear, but this is how we get you back on the docket. Do you have a public defender on this case?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll continue the appointment of the public defender. The bonds all stay at the $4,000 that Judge Toner set them at. I'll move your date up to the 23rd of October. The public defender will come see you before then if you don't get out, all right?
All right.
Thank you. And Scott, does jail know about custody? At 11 a.m. for Judge Ruby's in custody, if you haven't heard that already.
Yep, thank you.
All right, thanks.